Everyone, I know that this is not the usual thing that I would do. I have never made a video in my whole life, kind of, at least not in this way. But I figured that, not only out of boredom, but also because of how long this game is going to take to develop, that I would show my progress on Nintendo World. Right now, I am working on the shed for the game. I'm already halfway through. Probably should have made this video earlier when I was still making it. But, yeah. Let's get started. So, first up, I just finished off this chest here. And I'm going to do some more decorating. And I think I'm going to do the toolbox. Probably a rusty one instead of this. I know that a lot of people have asked me to do tutorials on my work before, and I guess if you really wanted to, you could consider that. But honestly, I would not follow what I do too extensively. I feel like a lot of people give me way too much credit for the kind of editing that I do. So, form your own style. You don't have to use Paint.net like I do. Any program will work really as long as you have the skill and the patience to learn, yada yada yada, all that usual stuff. Not exact, but we can take that. One of the main programs that I use, aside from Paint.net, is RemoveBackground.com. This is not required. If you know what you're doing, you can just, crop out the backgrounds in the exact program that you use, but I never got all that good at that, so I just stick to using this. It doesn't work sometimes, and you gotta do the cropping yourself, but most of the time I would say it is a reliable enough source. Also, another reason why you should probably not follow everything I say exactly is because I use a lot of add-ons with my stuff. I will probably compile all the stuff that I use in, a zip folder on, Google Drive someday. Maybe, if depending on how lazy I am or not, we'll have to see. I usually play music when I work, but not today. Because I think that would be obnoxious, and plus my music taste is fucking terrible. Okay. One tip I would recommend when you are blending stuff together, not only getting the colors of the image you're using right, but also blurring it. That way the blur and the resolution and all that fancy crap matches with the image. It doesn't have to be exact. Sometimes you can make it work even without doing those things. Other times, though, it is very much necessary. Okay, that is done. Next up, we need the Nintendo 64 box. Wow, first image. Nice. Third image. I found the original that I used. That's nice. Nice. Perfect. Right. Another thing you're gonna have to get used to is the fact that sometimes, for some reason, I couldn't tell you why, but sometimes the site cannot read images from Google. I guess from certain sites, I suppose. So if don't worry, you can still make it work. What you gotta do is you gotta paste the image that's on the site that you want, and just crop it, and then just paste it back. That usually works. Maybe that's not the exact image I used. It just seems like the same picture on the box art. That's funny. I usually don't save the original images that I use in these. I really should. I really should like make a photo of that stuff, but I have a lot of space on my laptop already taken up, so not really gonna bother with it. At least not for now. Usually, I find the original images fairly easily, and if I can't, I can find suitable replacements. It's Google. You can find a lot of stuff on there. Just gotta know what to look for. When people ask me, like, where do I get my images from, yada, 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 it's not that much of a complicated answer. I don't really go to any specific sites or whatever, because a lot of those are paid for, obviously, which explains the watermarks and stuff. I will probably show, depending on if I encounter an asset that I want that's watermarked when I make this, I may or may not show how to remove that stuff without using any, like, programs or piracy measures or whatever. I've never used piracy to get images before. Mainly because I don't really know how that stuff works. One part that can be hard to get this stuff looking good is the shading. I'll be honest, even though I think I do a decent enough job at like making the shadows look convincing and realistic or whatever you want to use, there's still going to be some flaws. It's hard to get that stuff down. It doesn't need to be perfect at the end of the day. It just needs to be convincing enough to where if you don't look at it hard enough, it can look like an actual image. I like to make a lot of my offices and stuff in general, like, made out of sketch textures and assets and PNGs and yada, yada, yada. I find it easier to mod an office that way. That way you don't have to work around an office, right, like a pre-existing PNG you find in an office, which you have to edit and relight and all this other stuff, and it can be really annoying. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it just really doesn't, and it's kind of a pain in the ass. Ultimately, though, I just like this method a lot better. So, yeah. Next up is the pitchfork. Not that. I do wonder what pitchfork asset I used. Oh, that looks good. Not exactly, but that's the vibe of the shed. That works. This may or may not look like shit. It's hard to say. Gotta angle some of this stuff right. That works. Okay, now I have to... This part's always fun. Sometimes I like to use the drop shadow when I'm just making like simple shadows that only appear at like the bottom of the image, like with the case of the toolbox and the packaging. But other times when the shadow like covers more than that, I have to like make a copy of the image and blur it and turn it black and yada yada yada. Usually works out. Sometimes. Okay, cool. That worked. Very nice, very nice. Okay, now for the bucket. I'm probably not going to include the box since it looks weird. Okay, that's pretty good. That works. I usually like to use the images that have more, probably generic to say, very obvious to say, but obviously the images that you have more textures on them and all that stuff like that. Sometimes I encounter images that look really good but don't have texture, and I just apply it myself. It's not that hard to do. Oh yeah. Another thing, this is a small touch, but with a lot of these, you kind of have to like circle the parts that you use the magic wand on and erase them, because like when you copy something and you paste it on another layer or whatever you want to call it, it leaves a weird residue that can fuck with things when you're trying to add other images. It's really annoying, and I haven't found like the best solution to it. There's probably some solution that I haven't even found out yet because I've been overthinking it. But for now, if by some unknown reason you wanna follow the way that I make images, be wary of that. If there is a solution to that, please let me know. This is not a one-way street of me giving you guys tips. If there's some Paint.net wizard watching this, watching me do things in the most incorrect way possible, please do let me know. Feedback is always appreciated. Probably not going to be a shadow on this one because it's dark on this part and you probably wouldn't even be able to notice it. I am going on a vignette, though, because that just makes sense. Not that kind, though. Also, I apologize if my mic sounds like shit, if my audio is not very good. I do not have an actual microphone. I'm using the built-in one on my laptop. If these are popular, though, if people like these, then maybe in the future I'll get some money together and buy a microphone. If that way my future recordings don't sound like ass. Maybe we'll have to see. Again, depends on how people respond to these or if there's any interest shown. Hopefully so. This could be fun. Maybe we could have actual editing behind these and yada yada yada. I'm probably not gonna have this video edited. It's most likely just gonna be me just making this stuff. No need for cuts or anything like that. We'll see though. Probably not gonna be making any professional videos in the future, essays. I think my voice is kind of grating to listen to, and I'm not gonna be putting any dumb filters over it. So yeah. Okay, what's next? I'm gonna go back and change the shading on that box real quick. Did it beforehand, but I guess I didn't do it good enough. I'll have to go back and fix things that I think look out of order or weird in any way. Already looking a lot better, more consistent in my opinion. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Okay. Okay, here it is. Probably should have put this up earlier, but I guess I didn't. Yeah. For those, this is probably a common fact. For those who don't know, Nintendo World is not in a completely original idea. There's a lot of original elements mixed in, but the game is genuinely based on and is a remake of Five Nights at Nintendo Land, which is a very old 2015. I think 2015 is 2014, 2015, 2016 style fnaf-fan game that came out a very long time ago, obviously. And it didn't get a lot of traction. Game Salmon played it, but aside from that, not a whole lot. There's been like a semi-community surrounding it, but there's not many games about it. There's a couple that I can think of. There was a scrapped remake that did not get finished. Rebirth, or whatever it was called, I don't remember the name entirely, but there was the Resort game, which I am basing the sequel for Nintendo World off of, if I ever get to that sequel, depending on how fast I get the remake of Nintendo World done. But, we'll see. A point is, old game, not completely my idea. I just thought it was neat, so I wanted base my idea off it and make it take place in like an actual running theme park instead of just randomly intersected like abandoned buildings and stuff. I don't know. I always found that weird how like a game advertises itself taking place in like a certain location, and it just all the rooms are like some rooms of an abandoned mental hospital, and they have nothing to do with the name at all. It's really weird in my opinion. I'm trying to think of what asset I should take from the shed to use. I'm probably going to take that sandbag. That makes the most sense. How many AI results? I never found out a way to... If you're asking me how to filter those out, I do not have an answer. I never figured it out myself. Again, probably something that I'm just not smart enough to figure out on my own. Maybe. Hard to say. That looks good. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I fuck with that heavy, as my boyfriend would say. Maybe I'll have him cameo on one of these someday. He could provide some interesting commentary, perhaps. Who's to say, really? Yeah, okay, we're getting somewhere now. Okay. Not sure if I want to add anything else. Maybe I will. I think this looks pretty good for now. Okay. Let's add the ceiling light, and then this should be good. Oh yeah, then you're gonna like the outside and the door and yada yada yada, the rest of that stuff. For now, I'm probably gonna flatten all of this, and then change the brightness one last time. Probably gonna find a lot of AI results. Okay, here's the original image I used. Nice. So then it took me a very long time to get right with a lot of my images. Undoubtedly had to be the lighting. It took a very long time to get that down. I think I've got a good perception on how the lighting works. Obviously, it could be better. I'm not gonna say it's the best I could ever do. I'm probably gonna improve on it. But for now, I'm pretty happy with it, at least compared to the shit I used to do, which I'm very unhappy with it. Especially for Nintendo World. There's a lot of assets in Nintendo World that look really bad. I intended it to look somewhat like a 2015 fan game, but at the same time, I think my vision on that has shifted a lot. I don't really want the game to look intentionally shit, even if that wasn't what I was doing. I wasn't really happy with how a lot of the game's graphics look, especially for the mascots and stuff. I'm not sure when I am actually going to show the finished mascots. Maybe I'll show me making one coming up, because I have not finished all the remakes yet, but I will say that I think the new mascots look pretty damn good, and that I've been doing a pretty good job with them so far. I'll let you guys be the judge of that, though, whenever they come out. Okay, before I bake some lighting in, I'm probably going to add the door, and then add the outside area. Probably it's not going to be the courtyard this time, because there's a lot more well-lit compared to the original, which would remove the tension or whatever one you want to use. I don't know, I just don't think it would look as good. Okay. Should be able to find something here. Maybe it wasn't a texture, I'm pretty sure. Maybe it was like an image, I think, probably. I think it was. I'm having a hard time remembering. I do want to use that original door asset because I think it works pretty well. Depends on if I can find it though. That's not it, I don't think. It's close, but it's not. Yeah, that's definitely not it. That's not it either. We're getting close though. Yada yada yada. I'm sure it's somewhere down here though. Probably should look up. Here it is. Nice. Perfect, perfect. I knew it was a transparent image. Yeah, it's perfect. Ah, crap. Copied the wrong thing. There we go. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. Maybe I want some music in post-editing. That way it's not just silence in between me editing shit. Maybe. I have no experience video editing. So maybe I'll do that. Maybe I won't. Hard to say. Okay, I'm happy with that. I am very curious how it looked. Oh, probably not good, I'm assuming. I'm assuming not good. Maybe. We'll have to see. Oh, we can get a better look at it when the shape becomes. I don't know. We'll have to see. Yeah, you can't really see anything, which does make me wonder what the outside should be. Maybe it should just be this, mayhaps. I'm not entirely sure. This does look pretty good, though. Not to toot my own horn, but I think this looks a lot better than the original. Lighting is more consistent. Yeah, all the fun stuff. Yada yada. Okay. Yeah, I can probably do that. Hold on. That works. Oh, good. I have the paint for the light here on hand, too. From earlier. Lucky me. Guess I didn't really need to do much painting this time around. At least for this image, anyway. Really depends on the image sometimes. Oh, wrong thing. There we go. That's better. Okay, that looks good. I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah, okay. That works. Probably need to just turn down the shading on this. That way when I have the glow shit, it'll look better. Okay, gotta make sure the highlighting doesn't fuck anything up. That's better. Okay, that looks good. Alright, now to actually light this stuff up. Okay. Yeah. I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, everyone, that's the whole video. I'd probably make this longer, but I need to call a friend in a bit. So yeah, hope you're happy with this. I'll probably make a longer video tomorrow. Maybe again tonight if I'm up to it. I guess we'll have to see. Next time I'll probably make a model in Volvo, which is its own can of worms. I'm not doing a tutorial with that. It is very outdated, and if you do not plan on making anything for Nala later, then I highly recommend that you don't use it. But that's a whole other can of worms. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I hope you guys have a good night. See you later.